Okay, we are going to see if small country is still OP in this game even after the nerf. I know some other YouTubers already made videos about this, but I'm gonna show you how they're OP by simply winning an early game war and then also kill the entire server. So let's get right into it. I started off in Israel, made some electronic factories, and sold about 60 electronics to AI countries, which earned me about 5 million income. Egypt did not declare war on me, but I wanted to keep this challenging, so I declared war on them even though I hadn't prepared at all. He sent 150,000 troops at me, but honestly it surprised me how many troops 400 tanks can kill in the early game. After I got rid of his troops, I hoped for an easy win by taking Cairo until he started spamming a lot of troops. This war did take a bit more time than I wanted to. He even started to use attackers on me, but that was really easy to counter. I just used the effective equivalent of artillery and anti-air, which is just a destroyer. The main thing about this war is that tanks in the early game are simply way better than infantry. Combined with a simple strategy like going for their capital, it was really only a matter of time before he ran out of manpower, considering the amount of human waves he sent after me, and eventually, I took his capital and that war was over. Like every Rise of Nations player though, he immediately scorched everything and left the server after losing his capital. Now with that war out of the way, I was free to do whatever I liked, and now was to expand. I didn't really annex every country, but at this point, I was most of the Middle East, so I felt confident enough to go to war with what was basically all of Europe. So I declared war on Italy and also Germany to get some revenge. At the same time, I went to war with the Balkans cause I don't know, why not. Two capital snipes later, the war in the Balkans was basically over, so I moved on to taking Rome, which I did use mass attack troops because I wanted to focus my tanks in attacking Poland, and I also didn't have enough military points to switch doctrines. Yeah, Poland died because his capital got sniped, just like everyone else, but at least it seemed like Germany was going to put up a good fight, until France declared independence from them. At this point, I figured it's time to destroy the UK by sending a small navy of only 5 ships, and I also auto-captured Poland. For some reason, I got $2 billion in my treasury, which is apparently aid from China, so I wanted to give the money back until he left the game and burned the whole country. So knowing my number one hater is going to talk about it in the comments, I thought it would have been funny if I sent Germany like around $1.5 billion, confused the enemy by sending them aid. Oh, and also remember to send him 6 million manpower, which he seemed to already be using. Germany did try a last-ditch attempt in taking my capital by just sending all his troops at it, but it didn't really work out, so we just left the game. Once Europe was over, I think it was just time for me to declare war on USA to keep things going, but he also left the game. After Russia got his capital rushed and most of his country annexed, he also left the game. All this was happening in 2025, and I did have a lot of time to attack other players in other continents, like Japan who recently annexed all of China. I think it did use an alt account, since he kept switching constantly between China and Japan, probably to seed line. Invading Brazil was quite easy since I just used jungle specialized troops to land in Sao Paulo, assisted with an aircraft carrier so I can easily take his capital as well. It was at this point Japan really wanted to fight me, and he bravely said, "Come at me now."
A few moments later.
Wait, but what happened to him? Well, first of all, I needed to finish the war in Brazil, and to accomplish that, I just moved my troops to the two sides of the capital city, right? So I can start assembling the troops and they can reinforce. And then once they were assembled, I attacked the capital city from both sides to get the 1.5 times flanking bonus, and that was pretty much it. I could have won anyway, even by simply rushing, but I wanted to reduce casualties. Japan started invading Russia through Siberia. However, since I didn't own any of the Russian land, I simply just scorched the land and it would be a lot harder for him since attrition would kill him even harder. My plan to invade Japan was pretty simple. I wanted to go to the Philippines and snipe his capital. Hopefully he rage quits. Then I get a staging ground where I can invade Vietnam, annex it, and then attack Japan and China and mainland Japan. Once I took the Filipino capital, he started to spam artillery, so to counter this, I sped my troops and auto-captured. Japan saw this and I think he panicked for his friend, and he started sending multiple human waves at me. So this kind of brings us to how he collapsed, right? Because his war exhaustion killed him, and I also took over his mainland with an invasion through Tokyo. Overall though, we had a $200 million economy, first place in the leaderboard. Here's a view of the whole map and all the territories I annexed. I did have to piece out Russia, so that wasn't really included. Anyways guys, be sure to like and subscribe. Only 7% of you are subscribed, and if you want to see more Rise of Nations content and how to get better in the game, be sure to hit that button down below. And I'll see you in the next Smack That Game video.